Allie asks, will you be a green mayor? How?
Well, look, I'm glad you asked that question. That's one of my, I think that, what I call change the environment, change the behavior. If you change the environment, there's a number of ways. I think when I look at Chicago, they have Millennium Park. They have a title I would love to have for Philadelphia being one of the most greenest cities in the nation. And we can talk about it in a number of ways. Obviously, in terms of our building code, we need to look at the aspect of ensuring that we promote the aspect of greening. In terms of our work with the Pennsylvania Horticultural Society, in terms of planting, tree planting, things of that nature that needs to occur. Number three, I think that it starts again with leadership. I mentioned to you just two examples, but the best way to say it to you is in the area that I represent in West Oak Lane. We've been in the forefront of greening the neighborhood in every way you can think of in terms of open space, flower planting. We work with Arboretum in relating to getting young people involved in various aspects of greening. These are initiatives that I've currently done. These are not things that I'm telling you I will do. These are things that I've done currently. So again, it is about being receptive. The other aspect is energy efficient, having the proper type of lighting that we should have in our city buildings. These are just some of the things that I believe that will move a great deal. Recycling, we could do a better job on recycling in the city of Philadelphia, and it's an education aspect of it. So I think that through my leadership that these things can become a reality.
Alex, another participant from the great website youngphillypolitics.com, asks, you seem to be using technology better than most of the other candidates at the moment, this chat being one example. How do you envision technology helping to alter the way the city operates and the ways in which the people of Philadelphia relate to their government?
Well, you just raised it. I could see as mayor that I would be doing these type of chats at least once a month, that I would make that kind of a commitment through technology and making that available to, obviously, to the people of the city of Philadelphia, because I'm trying to find every and any way we can reach out to people, and technology, one, is extremely important. Secondly, I think that it's a way to reach out to maybe a generation that doesn't see the connection of traditionally the way we have done things. Look, we live in a global economy today, and we must change the world and the way we do things. When I went to school, there were not the laptops and the PCs that were there, and I recognize that. And I recognize that may I be deficient in a certain way, I'm certainly going to make sure I have the right kind of people around me to make sure it's happening. One of the things in my education proposal that I talked about is ensuring that there's laptops in every classroom in the city of Philadelphia. That is an objective that I'm going to work towards to make that happen. So I'm going to do it through action and not just through words. What you're seeing that I'm doing here today is through action and not just through words.
Stan Shapiro writes, a longtime friend of yours, I was disappointed by your leading the effort to preempt the city's predatory lending ordinance. Your bill can also be read to bar the city from requiring banks doing business with the city to provide equal access to credit. How do you defend this preemption, or do you concede that it was a mistake?
Stan, I don't concede that it was a mistake, only because, Stan, in terms of banking policies, it's set by the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. That's first. Secondly, if you read the bill very carefully, I think I put a number of consumer safeguards that was in the bill in terms of preventing flipping loans. That was very clear. I put enforcement efforts in there that was not in there before. The Attorney General can be much more enforcing of anything of a predatory nature. What I also try to do, Stan, if you know for a fact, is found alternative ways to make capital available to poor people and to working class people. I came up with, if you recall, the Working Families Task Force. Never before has that happened in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. I got the governor to take a lead on ensuring how we grow people out of poverty and move people towards middle class. So one, I put enforcement teeth, which never existed before, Stan, in terms of predatory practices. Prior to what I did, that didn't happen. And I want you to understand something. It just didn't happen for the city of Philadelphia. We made sure it happened for Allentown. We made sure it happened for Reading. So I took it to another level to make sure that we banned predatory lending. And I'm very clear and proud of what I was able to do in that respect. But I also try to come up with alternatives to make money available. One of the things I'm proposing is a state version of an earned income tax, very similar to the federal government. If we want to move people out of poverty, we need to make sure that poor people have the same availabilities that people with money have. So the earned income tax, I've introduced the bill. I work very closely with promoting the federal earned income tax, which was an initiative that President Clinton used very effectively to move people out of poverty. The other aspect I think is very important is consumerism around financial literacy. I've worked with the Greater Philadelphia Urban Coalition in terms of financial literacy. When I went to school, there was something called PSF, a bank, where we basically did savings account on Wednesdays. I think that what I want to do is talk about the element of savings and investment. We need to have savings and investment, and we need to educate people so that they cannot be taken advantage by predatory individuals. But we also have to have positive alternatives for them. The reason places like check cashing places exist and refund initiatives with the income tax is because a lot of times people need to be educated about what is available to them. And as a mayor, I will use the bully pulpit that I have as a mayor, as well as I will use the city government to drive and to change that behavior. But to me, just to do something that in my view, ultimately, which the court would have overturned and been thrown out, is not the way we should go. That's not my approach, Stan.